Well, hello, Davey.
You're looking a bit tanned. You on holiday?
Yeah. I went south. I've been south.
South.
South. I've been south. Yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. The wonderful to see you joining us. There's Les in Toronto, and there's Robin in New Zealand. Fantastic. Oh. I think that the South Island. South Island.
South Island, I think. South of New Zealand could be Antarctica? Yeah, Antarctica.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to be back again. We had a week off last week because I was away at the Orkney Folk Festival and didn't get home till Monday morning.
Oh, did I?
So I thought it might have been a bit chancy. But we were there. We done fine. We got Carolyn Wignall says it got my feet tapping. Don't you worry. There's going to be loads of music coming up. Carolyn, do not go away. And Flores and Cromarty. Do not go away. We've got two fantastic guests for you tonight, haven't we? We've got Charlie Stewart, the fiddler.
Yes.
We've got Lorne MacDougall, the piper. Amazing piper.
South of the South Island.
South of the South Island. All right, okay. There we go.
Yeah, so you were actually playing a gig this time last week, weren't you? 8 o'clock.
Yes. Well, no, I'd just finished. Just finished. It was the final concert, and we were on from. Oh no, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember if we were on for 7.5, 7.5, 78.
Either way, you'd be finished by now.
Anyway, yeah, it was great. It was a brilliant festival. Met loads of people. Met Charlie that was on tonight, actually, last weekend. And he was playing with Siobhan Miller's band, actually. One of my highlights of the weekend, that band, actually. Really, really
can you remember much of the gig?
I can remember all the gigs because I don't drink alcohol, so that always helps me.
That's not what I mentioned. Sure, old age.
But old age. Yeah. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it and had a great time. And there was some amazing stuff going on. Talisk. I don't know if you've heard Talisk live.
I haven't heard them live, no. But I have heard them.
For 3 people, it's a huge sound of it. Incredible for 3 people. Using bits of gizmo. So we'll maybe get some of these guys on sometime to tell us how they do it. Well, actually,
mentioning that, yes, next week we actually have Benedict Morris on, who is the fiddle player.
And I met Benedict last weekend as well. So it's been really good fun meeting so many people. There was a bit of a sickness bug went round, but I think we're going to get that with gatherings just now, aren't we? Whenever so many people get together, we're going to get different bits and pieces.
Well,
hello, Stephen Hughes. How are you doing, sir? Hello, Joanne Renton. Joanne's always watching for the borders on Scotland. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to remember to share? Keep hitting the share button for us and share it about, because the more the merrier. And if you think you're Indy, Ian Jackson says he's in South Lanarkshire.
That's correct.
I'm actually from South Lanarkshire originally. I'm originally from a place called Crawford John, which is in South Lanarkshire.
Just.
So there you go. Yeah.
It's almost the border, is it not?
Well, yeah. It's more Lanarkshire than Frisia. Yeah.
The obviously you've been off work since Friday with the bank holidays. I've been off since Thursday with the bank holidays. Yeah. So you were asked to kind of do a tribute for the weekend, for yesterday really, with the infamous guitarist Brian May not.
Brian May not. My friend Brian Nicholson and I. Yeah, it's been a busy old time because we've done this. We actually recorded this about a fortnight ago. The new construction that's going up on the island of Unst, there's a spaceport called RAF. Well, it used to be RAF Saxonwood. It's the Saxonwood spaceport where they're going to launch all the rockets to put satellites up, etc., etc. And Frank Strang, who is the top of the tree. Is that what is it they call that? A CEO, is
it? Yeah.
Frank.
Owner operator.
Anyway, Frank came up with this wee idea when he was flying back up in the plane from London, that he thought something was on about Brian May climbing Buckingham Palace.
Which he didn't do this year.
No, which I think a lot of people thought he was going to do because he'd done it before.
Which is probably why he didn't do this year.
Frank came up with the idea of why could we not get Brian Nicholson to go up onto one of the old bunkers, the war bunkers on the site at Lunaness where the spaceport's going to be. And then we said, well, we'll do it with the accordion and the guitar. And then I thought, wait a minute, I wonder if we could do it with the pipes and the guitar. And the last 2 notes you can't really play, but Brian can on the guitar and scream over the top and see if we could do it. So we got up there, and this old bunker, you'll see it in this wee video you're going to see here just now. There's a false wall around it, and there's a big space between it. And the idea was in the Second World War, if a bomb fell, it blew the outside wall, but didn't get the actual bunker. So everybody said, just jump over that space. Well, that space was about 6 feet across, and it was a 30 feet drop. And I was like, there is no way in hell that I am jumping across that thing with me Henderson pipes. You can forget it. So they got a couple of sleepers and got us over onto the top, and then filmed us with a drone going around. So he said he wanted to play God Save the Queen because this is going to be the launch pad number 3, and it is called Elizabeth after the Queen and because of the Jubilee.
Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Wood and Brian May not. Very good. Very
It
good.
was short and sweet. It was short and sweet, but it was good fun doing it. Very, very good fun doing it.
That's a good name for it. That's a good name for your duo.
What?
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. I see Joe Nicholson for Orkney there. I can't believe it, but Joe and I have been following each other about since all the pandemic started, and then he had to go away for a wedding. He didn't see us in Orkney last week.
I know he was in Aberdeen.
Yeah, but he's talking about there about the thing with the long. Was that the what
Long
did he say? It was a Long Hope Lifeboat Day.
Yeah.
I was actually playing last night at the 8th Lifeboat Gala, and it was a 50th anniversary last night of the gala that they have every year raising funds. And it was an absolutely splendid night. And there was loads of youngsters there and the kids, and they were all up dancing and singing. It's just magic to see everybody getting back to a wee bit of normal again and just happening, you know.
But I think they probably did a better job of singing than Rod Stewart did last night.
I haven't heard this yet, but I'll leave that to you to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello,
so
Derek.
we've got
Derek going. Hello, Derek, and hello, Dave.
As we mentioned, we do have two guests this evening. We have the 2017 Young Traditional Musician of the Year, Mr. Charlie Stewart. So we're doing quite well. We're pretty much getting every single young trad since it started. Eventually,
do you know something? There was no young trad when I was young.
You were young.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Wow.
But you know what? There's a classic car show on just now up in Shetland this weekend. And we took my wee daughter, Grace, to it. She's 8, and she said, "What's going to be at this, Mum?" And Karen said, "Classic cars." And she went, "Well, you mean old stuff for the 80s?"
I take offence at that.
Yeah, there you go.
I was born 87.
Yeah. Les says it's fantastic. Oh, thanks, Les. Thanks very much. It's good fun to do it.
Right, so let's bring on Charlie. Here is Charlie Stewart.
Hi, Charlie.
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you tonight?
We're doing well.
Good, man. Yeah, it's been a great day.
You're all right. You're doing in Glasgow, Charlie. You're in Glasgow. Are you originally from Glasgow?
No, I'm not. I'm from Glenfarg, near Perth. So like in the country near there, but lived in Glasgow for quite a while now. Moved for uni and stuff.
Yeah, I stayed in the Glenfarg Hotel for about 6 months once for a wee while.
Oh yeah.
But I think because I was young and probably nobody else would keep me at the time.
Probably right.
But I think we spoke about that last week, but I'm not sure if it's still there now. Is it still there, or is it flat?
It's still there, but it's not open. So the building's still there, but it's been closed for years. It's just sad. So there's like the Gunfire Folk Club and stuff, but that's moved around to was in Kinross for a while, and now it's in Gateside. But So it was a really cool. I'm glad you got to stay in it.
Nice.
It would have been a cool place. Yeah.
Nice area.
I played the Glenfarg Folk Club twice. Twice. Once with my band.
You got asked back?
No. No. That's the funny thing. The first time I played it with the Tannies, Tanny Weavers, and the second time I played with my own band. They did kind of like a four band kind of newcomers night. So it was us.
Davey, I'll do some comments here for a wee while since you're blind.
Yeah, sure. There was us and their 2 seconds, I'll catch his name. It was us and then some whistle player in Senegal called Mark Dunlop. No idea who he was.
Yeah.
But that was before he'd left Malinky and he was kind of doing his own stuff at the time, and then obviously he's back to Malinky again. But so that was a really good night actually.
I think I actually saw you with the Tanhill Weavers. Went to that gig with my dad. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that was literally kind of Colin Melville, who was the piper at the time. He said, "Oh, just come through and we'll do a bit." I was like, "Aye, okay." That was that. as you do.
Yeah, great.
I like that. Vitod says, "Where in Glenfarg are you from?" It sounds like she's made it sound like London or something. Glenfarg,
I'm not actually.
drive through Glenfarg in about 3 minutes or something.
So, it's not huge. I'm not actually. I live in the country near Glenfarg in a place called Dunsey, which is between Glenfarg and Milnathorpe. So up the hill from Glenfarg.
Right. So Drunsey, I used to play with a fellow called Andy Ramage, and he stayed in Drunsey.
Yeah. So he used to, I think, didn't ever really get. He kind of moved away before I started playing much. I think.
Andy called the street up there at Drunsey after his mother or something. You know, there's a street.
Gwendolyn Road.
Gwendolyn Road.
Yeah.
That was Andy's mother. Yeah. So
I've lived next to that my whole life and didn't know that's why it was called that. There you go.
Well, there you go. That's that.
Yeah. That's great.
That's Vi used to stay.
I can tell my folks that.
Sorry, David.
Vi used to stay at Conland Farm.
Right.
Is that right? No.
Maybe.
Let's have a look. Conland Farm, Glenfarg.
Anyway.
Near Dungask.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool.
Right.
My folks will probably not.
Anyway, we saw you. I saw you at Orkney last week, and you were in full flow again, and it was quite nice to get back to a festival, wasn't it? And get going.
Yeah. So felt so kind of like normal and really nice.
I'm not sure if I've actually caught up in sleep yet at all, to be honest.
It's been a slow road back, to be honest. Yeah.
Slow week.
So is that the real reason why there's a bank holiday this weekend, just for folk to catch up from Orkney? Yeah. 3 days, just to take this week off. It's fine. Yeah. So, Charlie, tell us about how you got started in music, because obviously, being from a small village, it's not the usual kind of route.
So it was kind of my actually, like, the house next to ours. He was getting fiddle lessons from someone, and he said, "Oh, this person's really great." She's Elizabeth McClay, so she's playing like the Bill Black Cayley band and stuff like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
so went along to meet this teacher and really enjoyed it. I just kind of really enjoyed fiddle music anyway. My dad plays violin and is really into trad music, so kind of listened to it a long time. And then started getting lessons. Just really enjoyed messing around on it. And then just kind of kept going through school, and then and then just kind of really liked it more than doing most other stuff. So it was like, I'll keep doing that.
Well, we've got a wee video here, haven't we? To begin with, we can hear a wee bit of Charlie playing. That would be fab.
Yeah. So we've got a wee short video here with one of our previous guests, Ross Muller. We've got the man from Glengarry. But you pre-COVID and going forward, you did a lot of stuff with Ross, didn't you, as a duo?
Yeah. So that would be. I guess that was a while ago that we did stuff as a duo. He brought out a solo album just before the pandemic that I was playing fiddle and bass on. And he's just doing a tour for it. It's starting next week or in a couple of weeks. He's doing a run of gigs, so you can check his Facebook and stuff. It's got a list of. So he's doing Glasgow and Inverness and Lithgow, and he's going up to the festival on Uist as well. So he's got like a nice run of stuff. So
fantastic.
He's a great player. It was great fun having him on the show. I remember it was the rock in the wee pickle tower, wasn't it? That's what he's.
Oh yeah, totally.
It was really cool because was that the tune he played all round
Linlithgow.
Linlithgow.
They were all around Linlithgow. Yeah. I kind of want to go and see that, because every time he talks about it, it sounds less and less real. Like it sounds like a fictional, like walking around the town all day and piping away. But it sounds great.
I bet the folk that get him at 6:05 in the morning are just delighted.
Yeah. yeah. I couldn't see it, but after fantastic.
So let's have a wee listen to this.
Whoa, yeah, bra.
Just bang my hand.
Very
2
nice.
seconds. Don't like this. There you go. That's better.
Yeah, that's all.
I banged my hand as well at the same time when I came to
Did you have any preferences, Charlie, what you liked playing along with? I mean, you were playing along with small pipes there, etc. Was there any combos that you really liked playing, or were you quite open to?
Yeah, no, really like playing in different combinations. Yeah, kind of find it really interesting seeing. I guess that's maybe from. I guess me and Ross were maybe like 20, 21, and just kind of like getting to know. Like I'd maybe played more just fiddle stuff, and I've been really interested in pipe stuff after meeting Ross. We were at uni together, and he'd maybe done more pipe bandy stuff and then getting into footwork. So we were kind of just like doing a duo to try and learn about each other's kind of
styles,
playing or whatever. So I always found that really interesting, like those different like worlds of different ways of playing.
So what high school did you go to then?
I went to
music in the school. Or?
Yeah, there was music in the school, and then also I went to the RCS juniors after a while. So Elizabeth kind of suggested heading along there after a while, and got lessons from Lorne MacDougall, and that was amazing. Like really enjoyed that, and they would do all these like group work classes. So you were playing in other combinations of folk all the time. Really enjoyed that.
Right.
And around the same, I guess kind of last few years of school, I started playing double bass as well, which is what I ended up studying, jazz double bass.
Right.
I kind of swapped onto that course after doing a year on the trad fiddle course.
So you went. We've had this conversation before with our guests that went from the kind of contemporary to the trad. So you've went from the trad to the contemporary sort of kind of course with the jazz.
Yeah. So
what was the kind of changeover for that? Because obviously with the fiddle, obviously the span on your hand is a lot smaller than on the double bass. Do you find that helped, or do you think it was a kind of a slow kind of curve to get something going?
I suppose it was more. So I guess I wasn't planning on doing a swap or anything, but I just I was doing the trad course, and I thought, oh, maybe it'd be nice to have a go at something else that might kind of inform your trad playing, or learn about a different kind of type of music and learn some kind of harmonic stuff. I guess I found the bass playing pretty useful for you kind of start thinking about your time, or like the band's time, or in a different way from, like, I guess on fiddle, like you play a wrong note and it sounds really bad, and everyone knows it sounds really bad. And then on bass, you like play something at a time, and maybe folk don't notice in the audience, but like the thing will fall apart, or
exactly,
so it's like different kind of thing, I guess.
Charlie, just to reassure you, any note I play on the fiddle sounds bad.
Yeah, I sometimes feel that way as well, So,
Charlie, just to reassure you, any note Peter plays sounds bad.
Oh, sorry, Peter.
Doesn't matter what he's playing.
No.
So you finished your degree, which that was on the BMU's the jazz course rather than the trad course.
Yeah.
Is there much of a difference? In the end result, or you still have that kind of, because you've got multiple instruments, do you kind of still get to play fiddle as part of it, or do you kind of go okay, jazz?
Yeah, I kind of went like, if I swap course, is it okay if I keep getting fiddle lessons? And they said yes. So I was doing all the jazz modules. Yeah, space. But like, so did all the jazz modules, but then got trad fiddle lessons as well. So I guess you come out with a jazz degree, but most of the time I was getting out of like jazz class and going to a session, and not, kind of getting through the jazz stuff, but going to.
I can just imagine somebody reading your CV at like a job. They go, so you've got a degree in jazz. So how did that work? Well, it's actually technically trad with jazz.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Okay.
So you started doing jazz after going to uni, then you went that direction?
Not after. So around the same time as I started at the arts, like doing the juniors thing, there was a really great youth jazz orchestra called Fife Youth Jazz Orchestra. It's run by Richard Michael. There's a show on Radio Scotland and stuff. It's really great.
Did you say the Fife Young Jazz?
Fife Youth Jazz Orchestra, yeah.
They come up to Shetland to play a number of years ago, I think I remember.
Yeah. They I didn't go on that, but he arranged a bunch of tunes from that trip. I remember we were playing.
Was there not an album recorded between, what did they used to call that, Fijo or something, wasn't it? Fijo?
Yeah, Fijo and the Shetland.
There was, I'm sure, Margaret Robertson that had the fiddlers up here and them done a CD together or something. And done,
yeah,
I remember that happening.
Right. Totally. Yeah. So started playing a bit with him.
What took you into jazz then? What attracted you to jazz?
So, mostly, I think I went along to that Fife Youth Jazz Orchestra thing with a mate, and then kind of heard some jazz stuff there and really liked it and got into it. So, and then just kind of went from there. Yeah.
I think the one thing that jazz has over any other genre is the kind of the automatic assumption that there'll be a improv. I think that's good for trad musicians, because especially for writing stuff, I think it was Adam Sutherland who said it as well. When he's playing, you'll just play and then see what comes out, and then he'll kind of go, oh, that's really, then kind of work from there. Do you find that you've benefited from that as well, from the jazz side, the trad side and jazz crossover?
Definitely, yeah. And I feel like there is loads of crossover. When you're listening to like someone playing like a trad tune, and they're kind of putting all these variations in and kind of improvising around a tune. That's kind of, it's really similar to the jazz stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
I guess the jazz stuff's more, you've got these set chords that you go over. There's definitely a lot of similarities there that are kind of really nice to hear.
I see Alan Monroe saying here that he saw the young band. How do you say that? Abiel?
Oh yeah, Aval. So my flatmate is Jamie McDonald, who plays in Aval. So
right.
Yeah, he might be popping through for a cup of tea in a few minutes.
That's not Jamie fiddle player, is it?
Yeah, Jamie McDonald, the fiddle player. Yeah.
Who was in the same course as I was at the UHI doing the.
Yeah. He just mentioned that. Yeah. He just mentioned that he was on the UHI. Yeah.
Oh, I hope he does pop through and say, because him and his sister were on. His sister plays harp as well.
Yeah, Anna. Yeah. They're great. They're great players. Yeah, I was actually just doing playing bass on Aval's album launch last week there.
How accurate's that? Nigel National Youth Jazz. Oh, no, that's the National Jazz Orchestra.
Oh yeah. So I did that one once after Fijo.
Oh, okay.
That was great as well. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Have we got another track, Davey?
I was about to say that. So, as we mentioned, you won the Young Trad 2017, and we're going to have the final performance from Young Trad. What we'll do, we'll play it, and then we'll talk about what you played afterwards. Makes it a bit easier than trying to remember.
Wait.
So here we go.
Cool.
How did you
Weird
get into
to
that
see.
then, Charlie? How did you enter that yourself, or do you get nominated, or what happens?
Yeah, you send in a wee recording that you play in. I think you had to write a wee bit. I'd just been doing a session with Morrison the week, or the night of the application thing. And he said, "Oh, you should do this," because he'd won it the year before. And he was going, "Oh, no one's entered it this year. You should go for it." And I was like, "Okay." I just went home and did this video, and then turned up, and everyone there were loads of folk there, which I was quite nervous about. There you go.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at who entered 2017. So yourself, Kim Carney, Grant McFarlane, Ella Monroe. Yeah, you had a lot of tough competition there.
Yeah,
it was great. It was great. It was a really nice bunch. You kind of all go. It was a semi-final. Before that, you go away with Simon, and you stay in this house for like a weekend, and you do all these like kind of classes, and you do some yoga or whatever. And it was like, yeah, it was really fun. It was kind of like it was cool to like meet everyone. You know, like maybe that you wouldn't have met, like singers and stuff.
Yeah,
and kind of ended up playing with a bunch of them after. So even for that, it's like a great thing to do, you know.
Yeah, it's quite good for networking, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Very impressive.
Totally. So, I think Simon has actually, he just sent a message a few days ago saying applications are open now for anyone that's watching to do it this year. And he was saying to spread. Oh, go back. You guys go for it.
I was going to say, I thought he was asking you to reapply.
Oh no chance of that. No chance.
Maybe I need to start practicing.
You also need to. I think you need to half your age as well. Because what's the cutoff? It's 20.
28, I think. Maybe it's 28.
Oh my God, I'm about 20. That's about my weight. Never mind age.
You can see a fella like that. Maybe. Yeah.
No, it's amazing how many fantastic acts continue through after the whole Young Trad thing and kind of what exposure it gets them. Because you did, obviously, did you get to do the Young Trad tour then afterwards as well?
Yeah, that was really fun actually. And you make a wee CD and stuff. So that's really fun. And there was actually there's a thing that's not connected officially to the TMSA, but an agent called Petra Eisenberger puts on a Young Scots award winner tour or something in Germany. It's like a 3-week tour. And she's often taken people from that, so I ended up doing that as well, and that was really great fun.
Yeah, because Ali Levac was just out there, wasn't he?
Totally, yeah. With Andrew Wade.
Yeah, that's true. I was trying to think who it was.
Yeah,
Andrew's on the other
way. Totally.
I'm sure somebody else there.
yeah.
I'm sure we did. But you also do a lot of work now with jazz musicians as well. Matthew Carmichael, on his latest album. But you do still continue to do session work with the trad singers and other bands. What sort of things you've got kind of lined up, or what's coming out? What's new, basically?
Yeah, totally. So I guess the next kind of upcoming thing is Matt's launching his album. I'm not sure if this is the launch of the album, but we're playing some new stuff anyway. This week coming, all kind of around England. We're staying in Birmingham, and the gigs are kind of around Birmingham for kind of 4 or 5 days. That'd be good fun. And then Ross Miller is doing some stuff the next week for his album, which would be great as well. It's a really cool album. What's going on? Misha McPherson, who's like a great Gaelic singer. She's got her own solo stuff coming up, and a project with some Indian classical musicians. It's really fun just to learn about that kind of music as well. So that's in Glasgow towards the end of the month, and that kind of it's at the Mila, which is an Indian music festival in Kelvin Grove Park, I think. And she's doing her own. So.
Have you been involved with anything like that before then, with the likes of the Indian music?
This is a band called, or kind of a project called Nahara. So it's fiddle, Misha, Ali Patterson. Do you know Ali? Who plays in Skiffinish and stuff like that. Plays piano. And then two Indian, like classical Indian musicians playing tabla and singing in Sodi. So we've done a Celtic gig just there, and we're maybe thinking about doing some recording at some point.
Fantastic!
Really good.
We met doing a theatre show last summer, or no, not last summer. The summer before COVID happened.
Long time ago now.
Yeah. So nowhere near last summer, but
I mean, could that take you in the end to India as well to perform this stuff? Or?
There was a kind of we were talking about that. It would be a lot of fun. I've always wanted to go, so we'll definitely be looking. If there's anyone watching, I can sort of that. But,
I think the way you're doing it's wonderful. I mean, the cultural tie is fantastic, and you're actually getting into the real heart of the music, etc. I mean, I've been in India and Bangladesh and that places like that playing quite a few times, but they're playing for Scottish society, so you're just playing the same material as we'd play here, but there. And whereas to actually get in about the actual folklore of the country you're going to would be really cool. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, it's been so fun. So I was actually at a rehearsal for this thing just before this. For Nedhara thing. It's always really cool to see their approach to writing music or improvising and stuff. So and Dankness kind of different improvisations, really cool. So I'd love to go Indian.
Your jazz background is going to help you in a situation like that with improvisation as well, isn't it? Because
I suppose it's all connected. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So this isn't your first brush with classical though, because you did perform at Proms in the Park with Josie Duncan and Pablo Fuente. You were doing trad, but that's not the point. How was that as an experience? Because I watched the video back today, and it looked brilliant. Because was that in Glasgow Green? Was it?
It was Glasgow Green. Yeah. I was going.
So I was just saying, it must be fantastic looking out over that sort of audience and kind of.
Totally. Yeah. No, it was pretty surreal thing. Like, I think because we didn't normally play together. I'd done a bit of stuff for Josie and Pablo's duo album, but I'd never played live with them before. So we kind of wrote that set in the sitting room, and that'd be fine. And then show up doing that. I was like, this is a very strange thing that's happening, but
it'll be fine.
Great fun.
It'll be fine. It's BBC. It's okay.
Yeah, totally. And then you turn out and be like, I'm not sure if this is going to be fine, but it was this. Yeah.
But same again, you're not. What's what I'm looking for? You're not. It's not. This wouldn't be the first time you've been on the BBC, because in 2017 you played at the Trad Awards as well with Snapbox.
Oh yeah.
So that's what you call a segue, Peter. You go across to that's what we're leading into the next video.
I saw what you were doing there, David.
Yes, it's a professional thing. You'll get it. It's fine.
I got it. That's one of Chris Stout's favourite words. Segue. We'll segue this. We'll segue that. Segue is everything. You know?
He's wanting one for his Christmas. That's why.
We'll segue this, and you can see the boys in fiddler. you can see the boys in Fiddler's Bid going, "What you mean? We just join it together?" Like,
Tell us a bit about Snapbox.
Yeah, so this is a band. Weirdly, we did first gig in a long time yesterday. It's a cello player called Rufus Huggin and a guitarist called Luke McNally, and me. And we all met at uni, and just at sessions in Glasgow, and kind of just got playing and really enjoyed it. And yeah, I guess we've all been busy. We've all kind of got increasingly busy doing other stuff over the past few years. Yeah, we were talking at the end of that gig yesterday, being like, "Oh, it'd be great to do some more." So we'll hopefully put aside some time to do something.
So this is a track called The Weinstein.
The Weinstein. So the first tune is Luke's tune. It was unnamed until he spilled loads of wine all over his music, and that's why it's called The Weinstein.
Tick, done. Next.
As good as any.
Yeah. There you go.
Right, here we go. Here's The Weinstein by Snapbox.
Tell us a bit about the other band members and how the three of you came together.
Sure, so there's Luke McNally on guitar and Rufus Huggin on cello. We all met in Glasgow on the course at RCS, and we all just played together a lot for fun in uni, and then eventually ended up making a band of it. We kind of started it just by trying to play music that we liked, and if anything came of it, then that was just kind of a bonus. So it's just whatever you feel like. A lot of kind of slower stuff and stuff that we've written along with kind of really old traditional stuff. So just anything that we like, basically.
Oh wow, yeah, that's great playing, Charlie.
Fantastic.
Really great.
As you can tell, I only watched the start of that. I only watched the start of that video before downloading it. I was like, "Oh, BBC album." Oh well.
Really good.
If it's good enough for them.
I
good enough for
can't. I'm still getting it in my. Can you hear me? Oh yeah. I'm coming.
Yeah, still here. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
The one good thing about kind of being able to mix in different genres and styles, different musicians, is that you become kind of malleable and you can be used in different kind of scenarios. Because you were in 2021, you did new voices as well, didn't you, for Celtic Connections?
Yeah. That was really fun actually. So it was, you pick a lineup. So you get given a kind of budget, a maximum amount of folk that you can ask. So I kind of asked a mixture of jazz and folk musicians, and then you'd write kind of 45 minutes of music for them or something like that. It was great fun. Actually, I'm making a smaller band out of some of the folk that were in that, and adding accordion, and we're going to record some of that music at the end of the year. So
you're adding accordion.
Adding accordion. No.
What's so shocking about that, Davey? What is so shocking about that?
Well, if it didn't make the original lineup, why would you add it?
It's replacing the string section is my plan.
Oh, right. Yeah. They should be strung up.
Who's playing the accordion?
Megan McDonald's gonna be playing.
Oh yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Peter Wood or something like that.
No. Megan's fabulous. I met Megan as well. Great lass.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's brilliant.
We were going to get her on the show actually, but she was flitting. Her flat she was shifting flat or something. So I must remember.
Okay.
Back again sometime.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. She's also in Jamie McDonald's band Aval, and I meant to say they just released their album. I don't want to risk saying the name wrong, pronouncing it wrong, because I don't speak out.
It's always good.
Yeah, you can find it online.
See, Davey, the thing is that they always want a good-looking accordion player in the band. You see, so that's why we come into our element then. You know.
And when they can't find one, the accordion player starts their own band, don't you, Peter?
Yeah.
Peter Wood Shetland Dance Band.
Right.
I was going to say if Megan drops out, you're first in there. Maybe
I'm not sure I can get into some of the sparkly numbers that Megan.
Oh no, definitely.
The one thing we haven't mentioned is that you also play with Rebecca Hill, who is harp. Is she classic or harp? What's the classification?
So she's told me. I think technically it's not classic. It's
not. It's a harp, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Celtic harp. I think.
Celtic harp. Yeah, rather.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think I've called her a classic player until really recently, and I think that's maybe secretly being quite annoying. Yeah. But yeah, so she's a brilliant musician, and she's been putting out her own solo stuff. But again, we're thinking of we've got some studio time at the end of the year to make a duo album. So yeah, that'd be fun. So,
look at this comment.
Can't afford. Oh, there he is. Yeah, no.
I like that one.
You know you so well, Peter.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
It's more the flights they can't afford.
Yeah. Two seats, one for me and one for the accordion. What was I going to say? Of course, I saw you last weekend as well playing with Siobhan Miller's band, and that was incredibly good. That was fantastic. That was just spot on.
Oh, that was great. Oh, actually, her album's coming out soon as well. That was great fun. a new one.
Yeah. And Ewan, Yvonne's husband, Ewan, was he a jazz background as well as a bass player? Was he?
Yeah. So he, I think he studied in Birmingham. But then, played with all sorts of amazing jazz musicians and stuff. Now he works in a glowworm, like a Glasgow studio as a sound engineer, and then also plays bass and all that folk stuff. So
that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's been. I think we kind of wrap it up and play this last video, which is yourself and Rebecca. It's been great having you on, Charlie.
Thanks so much.
As we mentioned, obviously, folk can go into your Facebook page and get all the latest information and kind of tours and music stuff. But yeah, as I said, you're playing with Ross in a couple of weeks in Glasgow and Linlithgow and Inverness. You playing Hoots in Inverness, isn't it?
I think we're playing Hoots. Yeah. That sounds right.
It's a cracking venue. We did that before. Good for you to go now. But no, it's fantastic. And when you do release an album, get in touch with us and we'll push it for you as well. It's whatever style of album you're working on, just let us know.
Thanks so much.
Our guests as well.
And then if Megan starts messing about around, you know where I am. Just give me a
I do, yeah. Great, yeah. No, thanks so much for having me on.
Anything to get work, Peter, eh?
Absolutely.
Actually, funny you mention you probably would do anything to get work, so sparkling number might be an option.
Yeah. Well, in that case, we'll do anything to have you. Might have to add 2 accordions.
There you go.
Yeah,
both wearing the same outfit.
Stereo.
Stereo accordions. Yeah. So we're going to let that stand there. Do you want to tell us a bit about this track before we go?
Sure. So the first tune is Loch Muller Duck, I think. So learned that from a Duncan Chisholm album. So love his playing. And then the second one's Surreal that I got out of the Caledonian collection, I think, in lockdown, looking for anything to do. So yeah, that's where those 2 came from.
Fair enough. Yeah. Again, Charlie, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Yeah.
All the best for the rest of the day. See you after.
See you again.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you later. Bye.
Aye.
Just wonderful.
Great stuff. Great player. Lovely touch.
Again, if folk are wanting to see more about Charlie, there's his website there.
Yep.
Charlie Stewart Music.
Very, very, very settled. There's Kenny Mackenzie saying, lovely set, well done. When I was driving down the road tonight, I heard Gary Innes on Take the Floor, and he played one of Kenny's sets of his.
Think of the royalties.
Yeah, and it was the one involving about Alistair Gillis.
Oh, that one. Cracking.
Yeah. That was great. So well done, Kenny.
Here's one for you. So, his pipes have joy and life breezing out of them, and I can't help feeling a swelling in the heart whenever I hear his ancient trilling and galloping and swirling coming out of my speakers. His music is often loud and foot-stompingly fast, sometimes introspective and almost always capable of evoking distinctively Highland landscapes and ancient Celtic rites.
Boy, I'm glad you said all that lot and not me.
Yeah. So let's just cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Mr. Lorne MacDougall.
Hello.
Thanks for that.
Good evening,
Yeah. How's it going?
Did you write that yourself?
Of course I did. Yeah.
It says here that it's a guy called Murray Gold.
Oh, my mate Murray. Yeah.
Fantastic.
He did that. He wrote that for me. I did ask him to write it for my solo album because I am a big Doctor Who fan and I had his contact details at the time. So with the chuff that he did that. Yeah, but mate, it's a little bit theatrical.
Totally brilliant. And then,
yeah, but that's the thing, Lorne, and we'll get more of this in a second. A lot of what you do is theatrical because you have kind of become the UK, Scotland's go-to piper for films and recordings.
I don't know because there's so much going on. But yeah, I've been lucky to do quite a lot of it. But we are in a good situation for that sort of thing in Scotland just now because there's so much going on. In terms of it's a thing you don't expect to affect traditional music, but actually the fact that there's so much stuff going on with Amazon and Apple TV and Netflix, etc., they're all churning stuff out, and every now and then, more often than there would have been before, there's stuff that requires traditional music. So yeah, it's good. But yeah, I've been lucky to get some of the stuff that I've been aiming to get since I was a kid.
yeah,
So
brilliant.
let's go back to the very start, Lorne. Tell us a bit about how you got started in piping and trad music.
Well, piping was it was sort of forced upon me by my parents.
Right. I'm glad. I bet you're glad they did now. Right.
Definitely, absolutely, yeah. Because I really did not like it until I discovered a man called Robert Matheson.
Right.
Who?
So Robert Matheson, well, when I was growing up, I was doing quite a lot of solo competitions, and any pipers listening or watching will know that solo competition is quite a lonely thing. You go up there, you travel sometimes the whole length of the country to go and do a solo competition, and you don't speak to any of the other competitors. You just go there, you do your thing, and it's a very solo, lonely existence. So that's the sort of life that I was growing up in.
I love the way you're selling competing piping.
Now this is maybe a thing to know that I was the only solo piper in the school at the time.
Yeah.
And that school was and that school was where?
That was in Campbelltown. That was the Campbelltown Grammar School. So there was a bit of time between the late pipe major Tony Wilson, who taught me, and then Ian McCarroll. There was a bit of time in between that when there was no piping tutor, official piping tutor.
Okay.
There was a great guy called Peter Ferguson who was doing it in his own time, but there was no actual piping tutor. So there was a sort of silence in the amount of pipers that were coming out of school. So that meant that I was the only person that was coming out, and unfortunately, I was hugely passionate about it. It wasn't just like something I did on the side. It was like, why isn't there no one else in my class that I can speak to about bagpipes? yeah, that was my growing up, and then actually Peter Ferguson, who I talked about there, he gave me a tape of Robert Matheson, a tape called Ebb Tide, and of course it's an album. It's a brilliant album.
That hugely influenced me as well.
Yes, I mean it's just a very, 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 very musical album. It's a great album.
But slightly before that, he brought out the album with Polkemic Pipe Band. The Polkemic Grurad they were at the time or something. And it was the one where they had different instruments on backing them and things, and a couple of solo tracks. And that was a huge album to me. That was about the first I really heard Andy Rennick's Ferret, for instance.
Yeah, same. Yeah, there's that track there is just literally it's legendary.
Gravel Walk.
Is it the Blackbird? Is that the slow
Blackbird? That's
yeah. But yeah, that track, and actually once I discovered that album, I went on to discover those other albums. And back in the day, it wasn't that long ago. It was late 90s. It was quite difficult to get piping albums. You can obviously go on Spotify, but even in Campbelltown, there wasn't an HMV or a Virgin or anything like that.
No.
So I can just imagine the high street in Campbelltown. HMV Campbelltown.
I had to go to Oban if I wanted to get a piping CD. I would have to go to Oban.
Would that have been Oban Music?
I'm not sure what it was before, but yeah, it was 2 hours away. So that was my reward.
The one next to Marks and Spencer's on the other side of Burger King.
That's the one. Yeah. Underneath the Waffle House. That was a reward for me when I was doing the solo competition stuff. If I would go to Oban and I would get a top 3 position, my mum and dad would buy me a tape of Oban music. So the second time that was Grace Notes.
Yeah. Of course, we had Robert on the show one night, and we had him on. He done the whole show, and it was great to speak to him because, just like you, I was influenced with all that stuff, and it was actually just fantastic to hear how he went about it. And, and it was just something that happened. Really, it just in his mind, it just happened. It came along and it happened.
Yeah,
it was great chatting to him from where was he? Gran Canaria or Lanzarote?
Gran Canaria. But as we mentioned earlier, Charlie obviously won the Young Trad in 2017, but you've been a finalist 3 times.
Finalist 3 times, semi-finalist once,
right,
and judge a couple of times, including the year that Charlie won it. So,
right,
I'll drop that in there. A deserving winner. I do take the mickey out.
I do think that, in my humble opinion, as a presenter now, I do think that all 3 times you entered, you were robbed.
Right, how much do I owe you for that? That's more than a £5.
Yeah, that's 15 quid. That's a £5.
3 times, yeah.
Well, I mean, just actually, the thing is, what Charlie was saying is actually they're looking for people to sign up to it this year, and actually, I think I might have been better off not winning it and just doing the final 3 times. I honestly think that. I think just to have that focus and to have, personally, to have that musical focus and to have that little bit of attention for 3 years rather than just a big bit in one was a good thing.
Stretch over.
Yeah, stretch over. And I would do it again. I would do it now.
I think you're a bit old for it now, Lorne.
I'm a little bit old, yeah. But I mean, look at if there is anyone listening thinking they want to do it, look at the details, because you can do it in your late 20s.
Did you not do it? Your last time was 28, wasn't it?
27.
27. No, you just said you. Yeah.
I've just missed it again.
Yeah.
We're going to have a video here. We're going to have some music.
As Lorne mentioned, he is a huge Doctor Who fan, and he has been lucky enough to perform on an episode of Doctor Who.
Brilliant.
And perform live at Doctor Who proms. It was at Royal Albert Hall, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
it is a short clip, but I do think it is fantastic. So we'll just jump to that. Here we go.
Magic.
I have information. Valuable information.
Are you bargaining for your life?
The doctor. The doctor has a secret, you know. He has one he will take to the grave. And it is discovered.
Brilliant. But
Short and sweet.
that must have been a dream come true, though, if you're a Doctor Who fan and then you get that gig.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't start speaking to me about it because I won't stop.
Yeah.
It absolutely was. It was like a case of turning up at the stage door and, you know, the person in front of you being a famous actor that you love from Doctor Who, the person behind you being a famous actor that you love from Doctor Who, or a doctor in a couple of cases. You know, I'm standing in the queue. And there's a woman in front of me in the backstage bar. One of the monsters was Scottish, and she had a Scottish £10 note that they wouldn't accept.
Oh, fantastic!
So you with your chivalry went, "I'll get this for you."
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So she must have been to Scotland recently.
£10 note.
But yeah, it was fantastic. But I mean, the musical content of Doctor Who still plays a big part in what I do just now, because it's how I got into listening to orchestral music.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big thing for a lot of young people, musicians and composers, is that their entry into orchestral music is through film and TV music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I was asking Davey earlier on when we played that there, the chanter you're using there then, is that an A major chanter, Davey said? Is that right?
It's an A minor. Well, it's an A major chanter with the C taped up to a C natural.
Okay. Right.
And the drones, the whole setup is normal Highland bagpipes, but the drones have got both extenders on the reeds and extenders on the
to get up. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And actually, it was very scary because they wanted border pipes, but with the Highland pipe image.
Yeah.
So that was, you know, that's the sort of thing that if it wasn't Doctor Who, you would say, "Nah, I can't do that."
So that composer, the composer there, then they had written specifically for that and asking you to perform that bit.
Yes, because I'd annoyed him for 5 years.
Okay, all right, okay, so yeah, okay. Right.
And he's now changed his email address.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
He's now Doctor Who.
So that was 2019. You did that, but
no, 2013.
Was it 2013? Okay.
Yeah.
It says here on January 2019. Then it's you jumped it. 2013. Was that your first taste of recording for screen?
No, Brave would have been the first taste of that.
You know that little film that the mouse did. You know,
well, that was 10 years ago now.
Wow!
And actually, that the Brave thing helped me get the Doctor Who thing.
Yeah.
And actually, so did the Young Trad. Need to say that. The mention the Young Trad to the Doctor Who composer was a big like, oh right, okay. Mm-hmm. He must be okay if he's gotten into that. But yeah, Brave was a big good first sentence for the CV.
Yeah, and you did pipes. Sorry, just border pipes and whistle on that, wasn't it?
Highland Pipes and Border Pipes.
Highland Pipes, Highland Pipes, yeah, of course, because it was Matthew played whistle, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you went on from there, and then it was DreamWorks. That kind of, did they come to you?
They did. The composer of Brave is a man called Patrick Doyle, who's a fantastic composer and a great guy. He's just like a wee Scottish gentleman. He's I think he's from Uddingston, and he's fantastic, and he's great. And he recommended me to John Powell, who is now a massive composer who did the last Star Wars film. But he was John Powell, I think, was Patrick's assistant for a while. So I think John Powell did some bagpipes for How to Train Your Dragon 1 that didn't work out so well. And then he mentioned to Patrick that he wanted some more bagpipes in the second film. And Patrick recommended myself and the Chili Pipers, because I brought the Chili Pipers down to do Brave. And then we got down to do How to Train Your Dragon 2, and then eventually 3 as well.
And I'm still in awe here that you managing to find a gentleman for Uddingston.
Let me check here. I might be completely wrong. I think he is.
If he is, Patrick, he doesn't mean that. If you're looking for an accordion player, Peter's no bad, but he is. Yeah. But as well as the. Sorry, go on, Peter.
No, on you go. You had a question.
Yes, from Uddingston. I checked. Yeah.
Yes, no, I was going to say. I was going to move on to the next bit. I was going to say that. With the Chili Pipers, you have been with the Chili Pipers since their inception, which is where we originally met as well. So was that 2006?
I don't think so, Davey. I think it's before that.
Well, 2006 when I was at Piping Live and I stayed at your flat with Stuart and Stuart's flat, and that was the year you went on to do When Will I Be Famous?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is kind of what kind of broke the internet, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. So I think the Chili's actually got me. They paid for me to go and be a spectator at that. I wasn't playing in the band, but I got paid to go in the audience and clap. And they paid.
So what you're saying is it's all a con?
Pay everyone, yeah. Yeah, the whole company's at a loss. But yeah, for that gig back in 2000, I think that was earlier than that, Davey. I think it was 2005. Yeah, because we hadn't long left the RSMD at the time. Or maybe not. But yeah, so the When Will I Be Famous thing with the Chili's was
07.
Great. Was 07 right enough?
Yeah. Band formed in 2002, but that was in 07, so that was the following year.
Which is why the band's having their 20th anniversary just now.
Funny that, yeah.
They can play music, they can do maths. I mean,
well, Kevin's an accountant.
The logic here is outstanding.
Oh, dear me.
Bring back University Challenge. That's what I do.
It's never left. But what I was getting to was
play a tune.
What I was getting to was that you do a lot of the arrangements, or have been doing a lot of arrangements for the Chili Piper over the years. And I think we had a conversation before where you've got brilliant ideas and they sometimes go, nah. And then they've got ideas and sometimes you go, nah. And they're the ones that get on the album.
Yeah, it's the musical world, though. That's fine.
It is.
You can deal with that.
So what I've got here, I'm actually going to play your track from Distill. I can't remember what year that was. Was that 2017?
That might have been, yeah.
And it's Sounds from the Sky. Do you want to kind of explain what Distill is?
Well, Distill is a great project by the same people that put on the Young Trad, or the same partnership. which is Hands Up for Trad. And Distill's a great sort of event that they have. Yeah, platform, yeah, that they have. And there's 2 events every year. It's hard to remember, actually, because of COVID. The first time we met up again was just back in April there. And what they do is they invite maybe 9 composers and 2 or 3 mentors to go out to a place called Weston Lodge, which is a lovely sort of creative retreat sort of vibe place in Lanark. And they go out there, they learn from the composers.
Right, here we go again. This is strange because I was sent to this girl that was doing a sound, Evie, last week at Orkney. She mentioned Weston Lodge. My grandfather was the gamekeeper at Weston. And the old cottages were straight behind Weston Lodge. And the last time I was down 2 or 3 years ago, I took a run up round and the ruins now. But Weston Lodge is still there. And when I was little, we used to have to go with the pipe band and play at Weston Lodge for guests, which was all very good. But as you know yourself, there's midges everywhere. It's surrounded by water and wood. And there's nothing worse than standing playing a couple of marches with a midgie crawling up your leg, about to sink its teeth in every so often. It's not an easy task. But it's amazing how Weston has got mentioned so many times recently, and it's really become a bit of a centre for music, to be honest.
It is, yeah. It is. That's where I did the Young Trad finals. I don't think it happens there anymore, but certainly for the first more than 20 years of the Young Trad, the finals, the semi-finals, took place there. The semi-finals choosing the finalists took place there. So yeah, it's great. It's good. The smell of that corridor. That's the first time I've been back there. Even instead of COVID, that's the first time I've been back there in about 5 years, and the smell in the corridor just made me a little bit nervous. Just thinking, this reminds me of the Young Trads.
So this is your distill, and it's called Sounds from the Sky. I'd like to point out that I do get a thank you at the end of this.
Well done.
Lon's like, you can't remember.
I do remember. Lots of people got a thank you at the end of it.
They did, yes. A lot of our guests are on this list, actually. Mary Field being one of them. This is how I book guests. So I look through and see who's on the list. Do you want to tell us about how your Sounds from the Sky and what your thoughts behind it were, and then we'll have a listen to it, because it's not trad really.
No, it's just as much trad as any slow era is. It's called Sounds from the Sky. The idea was that there was this this thing on YouTube when lots of people from all over the world, and it still happens, were posting videos of the sky, where they were hearing these sorts of really scary, spooky, sort of apocalyptic noises. And I was watching these, and most of them are clearly fake, but still the concept of it is quite spooky. So I thought that would be a good idea to try and mess about with that and just do it in Scotland. So that's why there's so many names at the end of it, is because I just asked people from all over the country, including Shetland, including Dundee, to take little bits of video from the sky, like take a video of a famous landmark or something that's recognisable, and then look up to the sky. And do that. And actually, I'll maybe talk about this later, but I'm redoing this with a full orchestra to record to release later on in the year as an EP. So this is a live recording with McFall.
Sounds in the Sky.
People all over Scotland have had their eyes to the skies today, with reports coming in from all over Scotland of eerie and unexplainable sounds from above. The first reports came from the west of the country around mid-afternoon, from the Argyllshire towns of Oban and Campbelltown. Early ear witnesses from these areas are describing these sounds as the pipes of heaven, with religious figures in the community taking these sounds as a sign from God of an oncoming apocalypse. The phenomenon is, however, far from contained, with these sounds being heard far throughout the country, as far south as the Borders and as far north as Orkney and the Shetland Islands. The sounds vary in intensity, but the epicentre does seem to be the west coast. Another witness described the sounds as like an out-of-tune pipe, and said it felt as if they were in the middle of a science fiction movie. Local scientists are searching for the source of the sounds, but currently are unable to provide a plausible explanation. Some individuals are also reporting suffering from nausea and headaches after being exposed to it. So far, the government have refused to comment.
Very good.
Definitely,
It is
something-
very tongue in cheek.
It is.
It's not.
It's
It's
great.
not supposed to be taken seriously.
It's great that you got what is his name again? The news presenter.
Jamie McKeever.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
so
was
Jamie's.
also he was also in on the Pete and Diesel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, April
Oh.
Fools.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've known
That was
Jamie
quite
since
fun.
I was a kid because he's from Campbelltown as well. So he will be making another appearance when we do it again.
Professionally.
Well, he did
More
that.
professionally.
I think he did that in the BBC studio. I think.
Record.
Yeah. But I think the script wasn't great. I need to edit the script. And also, it should have pipes in it. I had a finger injury that day, so
Cool.
there's supposed to be pipes in the whole piece.
See, writing something like that is quite on a contemporary classical orchestrated piece. For yourself as a piper, you've obviously did the interest was the interest sparked after you had the opportunity to work with, let's say, the orchestras, and
Yeah,
that sound
absolutely.
starts to get in your head.
Yes, but I think
was that quite difficult? Did you play other instruments as well, or were you
No.
really just pipe?
no, I've got very, very basic. I think what they now call keyboard skills.
Right.
So I can do some chords on the piano.
Really?
Yeah.
So how do you go about writing then when you're writing something like that there just now?
A lot of it is just finding the tune is a big thing.
Yeah, melody. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
melody, and the melody doesn't. I don't think about the accompaniment until after the melody
Right.
happens, and then that is just sort of the little bit of knowledge that I do have, and then just experimenting. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube videos from composers who, there's loads of great composers all over YouTube who are professional composers who say you don't need a classical background. You don't need to be trained.
No, I agree with that
Which helps.
fully as well. But I
Yeah.
just wondered how you structured it yourself. How you?
It's trial and error, I would say.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So I'll play a chord on a piano and think that sounds good, or that doesn't sound good. And then, of course, technology is a great thing these days. You can go back and look at the chords blocked up on Logic or something like that. And think, okay, so that third wasn't what I wanted. I can just move it up, and then we can cheat quite a lot.
Because I find myself when I'm writing stuff and away from just traditional or something, and I'm hearing something in my head, but then when I go to write it down, it's not exactly the sound coming out the other end that I was wanting. And as you say, at least with music programs and that, you can push stuff about a bit and things, and try and get what you want. And sometimes you don't even actually end up with what you thought you were going to end up with, but it's fine,
Yeah. Well, I go back and revise things so much. That was 2017, so there's gonna be quite a lot of revisions when that actually finally comes out in 2022.
Yeah, and you said earlier you were going to mention it maybe again, and so is a plan to bring that out as a recording or do it as a live performance?
Yeah. There's sort of I've been working towards an album, and I've sort of taken I've been thinking about my age and realizing that I'm going to hit a big number that I never thought I would ever hit, 40, in 2 years' time. So I'm going to do some big stuff when I'm 40. Maybe put out a book, maybe the album when it's 2040. But that's an album that I've been working on since 2010, since the last one.
Since you finished the last one.
Yeah. But there's 3 tracks that I've been working on it and doing demos and stuff, but there's 3 tracks that are sort of longer tracks that slowly became sort of just they didn't fit into the album. So they have dropped off the album, and I'm hopefully going to release them as a sort of EP thing in November this year. And they're 3 tracks with strings.
Right.
And some various other stuff.
Fantastic.
Just now. And that Songs from the Sky is one of them.
Davey, what are we having this time?
Well, I was going to mention that Lorne in 2019 was listened to by 5.4 million people.
Woo!
Was it?
Second only to Her Majesty the Queen
Oh, there you go.
on Christmas Day.
Oh, right, okay.
As some of our viewers might be accustomed to in the UK, we have a program called Call the Midwife, and in 2019 they decided to travel to was it Isle Lewis they went to.
I don't think they ever said Outer Hebrides.
Outer Hebrides, for an outreach project, and Lorne was lucky enough to be chosen, picked, found out, caught.
Oh, it's the same again. No, I was chasing them.
to be on the soundtrack, and it's a reworked version of Call the Midwife's theme on Border Pipes. Here we go. So what came first? Was the reel or the melody line?
Melody.
And
the melody's been going on since the start.
Yeah.
The composer. The composer's a guy called Maurizio Malagnini, who a fantastic composer, and he again actually it was just me reaching out. I knew it was going to be set in the Hebrides, so I dropped him a message and just said, any chance, if you're looking for pipes or anything like that, give me a call. And then on what I call Blue Monday, which I think is a different Blue Monday than everyone else, my Blue Monday is the Monday after the Mull of Kintyre Music Festival.
All right, okay.
Which is sort of the end of August, which is when all my friends come to Campbelltown and we have a big tune and we have a big festival. It's great. And then the Monday after, they all go away, and quite often I'm just usually stuck in Campbelltown. Yeah. So after sending that email, like maybe 9 months before, I got a reply on that Blue Monday saying, "Yeah, let's do this." I've written this, and this is the best email ever, the best thing ever. I've written all these parts on uilleann pipes, on Irish uilleann pipes, but we shouldn't be using those, because we're in Scotland. I'm like, yeah, no, you shouldn't. I'll help you out to fix that. So yeah, that's what happened.
That does get me down, and it's a bit depressing, isn't it, when Scotland's portrayed by the uilleann pipes? So.
Yes and no. I have heard Jarlath Henderson has given me a very good argument that it's okay.
Okay,
you would say that.
Yeah, those instruments were played in Scotland at the time as well, so it's not. But that didn't stop me that day.
No,
of course.
So yeah, I went out, and actually, Maurizio's father-in-law plays in a bagad in France. Yeah, which was nice. We didn't realise that.
Yeah, kind of had an idea of pipes then.
Yeah. So he's been to Lorient loads of times and been to the concerts and stuff. So that was great.
The one thing I want to point out is that you also did some recording for a stage show that some of our guests might be aware of. Or some of our viewers might be aware of. It's a little kind of comedy thing called Still Game.
Yeah, the very last note of Still Game is me.
And you also
have you looked at the top of the screen, Davey? You and me starting to look more and more like Still Game with
Aye. You're Isa.
Pies.
No, but you also played the pipes for the stage version, the intro. They did the intro on pipes at the
there was two sections.
Hydro, sorry.
In the Hydro, there was two sections. There was the Fusiliers song and the end song. And of course, both of those were sort of piss-takey. So it didn't need to be too good, which is the story of my life, to be honest. You've done well so far.
See, do you find doing a lot of the film, TV, blah, blah, that work is sometimes very short pieces that you're needing to do as well, isn't it? Maybe just 10 seconds worth. Thank you very much. That's all we're needing. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I sort of do make it known that I'd like to do more. And that I'd rather have bigger, more serious projects. But, you know, sometimes, most of the time, the people that book you are about 5 degrees of separation away from the person that's actually written it.
Yeah.
So you've got the composer, you've got their assistant, you've got their orchestrator, then you've got their contractor. So it's sort of difficult to actually get in communication. Yeah.
You've also played pipes on Indian films, Malaysian films. Malaysian, was it? But at the end of the day, your background is Scottish trad. You played with the Kintyre schools. You did a lot of the arrangements for their first one of the concerts, wasn't it? Back in the day, when they did like the engine room and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
the Run Rig cover.
I was
then went on.
Back then. Yeah,
you played with Scottish Power Pipe Band. You played with the band Cantarach. You then went on to play with a band that I'm aware of, the Tannehill Weavers. And I
don't remember that. I must have been drunk or something.
Well, 5 years. 5 years. Which, that's possible to be fair. But yeah, you played with Tannehill. You took over from the Colin Melville, who I obviously mentioned earlier on, and you did 5 wonderful years touring Europe and America mainly. And you only recently, well, I say recently, more recently than anything else, you only recently went onto the album, which was their platinum album, the golden album.
Golden, yeah, 50.
Golden. But I have actually, I think I mentioned it before, Pierre. I have Lorne to thank for me recording with the Tannies before he did.
Yeah, you sneaking in.
Well, no, Lorne said I can't make it through Phone Davey, and it was the only day they could do the recording. So,
brilliant. Nice. Wait, what?
Because Phil's studio is literally a 20-minute drive from my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you did that, but you were part of the Gordon Duncan concert at Celtic Connections, which would have been the same. So that was what year was that again? 2017.
I'm going to say 16, but I'm not sure.
16, yeah, maybe 2016 actually. 2017 was.
This is University Challenge tonight with David. 2008, no, 2013, 15. Oh.
And you played a set for it, which was Gordon's Jigs, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And you went on to play that at not for Piping Live, but the Piping Live programme for BBC Alpa.
Well, it went into our set list. It went to the Tanny set list for the tour.
Is that because you'd learned it? You might as well use it.
Yes.
So here we go. Here's Gordon's. I think it's called Gordon's Jigs, isn't it? Gordon's Jigs with the Tanner Weavers. Let's have a listen to this.
brilliant. Very interesting there, David. When David put that wee comment up saying you got to love the Tannies sound, and it's one of these amazing things with the Tannies. Actually, it didn't matter the personal changes; they still hung on to that sound.
Yep.
They always had a sound, and there's some bands do it, and some bands don't. Well, very few do actually.
Yeah, I think that's Roy and Phil that make that happen.
Yeah,
it's that sort of style they've both got between the two of them.
And it just it happens, yeah. And there's certain bands. It's like I remember Ian MacPhail that we had on Whiskey Kissy, and Ian's father, Ian MacPhail Senior, his dance band. I mean, I played in it for a couple of years as well, but Ian MacPhail, it didn't matter who his personnel was in the band. It sounded like Ian MacPhail's dance band. And it just shows you what a domineering, not domineering, but influential player they are.
Yeah,
they make people play around about them the way they want them to, which is quite amazing.
Listen, I think if you listen to any Tannies stuff from any of the years, you know it's the Tannies just by listening to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Be it Roy's playing or Phil's flute, that's all. Their styles are unique, and like Peter says, everyone else just kind of fits in.
Yeah. And John Martin's playing as well. I think that the guys who come after John are just going to have to imitate him.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah.
I'm sure they would say that themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good.
You've obviously been kind of stuck over the past couple of years with COVID and all that sort of stuff. Because you were originally living in Carradale during some of it, and then you've now obviously moved to Glasgow. You teach at Blockton, the National School of Excellence in Trad Music, under the renowned Dougie Pincock.
Yep, who is fantastic. And through lockdown, obviously we've still got students. I keep wanting to say kids, can't say kids, but students who we need to give qualifications to because that's what they've signed up to. And I get stressed out with the whole thing, but Dougie sorted it through COVID. We went online, and even though it was a very stressful year for staff and students, things turned out great for the first COVID year, and then we've just came to the end of the second COVID year there. It's been great. We do a part of the course is a thing called DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation. So for a project for the kids do, sorry, I said kids again, the students, they basically record a track, start to finish, and they use MIDI, they use live recordings, they arrange it themselves. And the last thing that I did there just last week, before we start the new term next week, was just sit and listen to all of the students' projects. And it was amazing. It was really fantastic just to listen to, such amazing playing and amazing arrangements, amazing concepts as well, because I don't do any instrumental tuition. I do very little instrumental tuition up there because Ian McFadgen, MBE, does it. He does the piping stuff. So I take some of his pipers to do sort of the learning a bit of whistle, learning a bit of music theory. But my main job is part of a team of tutors who do the 6th year, who actually have to get a proper qualification. So we sat down last week and listened to all the tracks they had made throughout the year. And it was just amazing. It was just great, just tracks that you would quite happily put out on your social media and say, this is what I do.
Fantastic. Is there any, do you ever listen back to the stuff and go, I wish I'd thought of that first?
Not yet. I'm sorry if there's certain ones over the last few years that I would like to give an honourable mention to, but that's not fair. But yeah.
No, of course.
Yeah, some great stuff. I'm looking up for their album though, because a lot of that stuff does turn up on the album. Blockton releases an album every year.
Yeah,
because the last year's album was completely remotely done, wasn't it?
I think that might have been the year before.
The year before, okay.
Yeah.
Because that was a very strange album because it was done that way. I mean, I think the cover was all the pictures like a zoom screen. Yeah.
Flock down.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Flock down, that was what it was. Is that your pun, is it?
No, it's not mine, no. I wish it was.
But what you also were working with, for like you say, for the Kintyre Music Festival. Because remember that this track is from that, isn't it?
What is it?
Portna.
No.
What was this for again?
No, that's basically a very personal thing. For me, that was just me sort of realising that I would be selling the house that I grew up in for various reasons, and the name of the tune is two different fictional names for Carradale, which is the village that the house is in. One is by Naomi Mitchison, who, if anyone's into their literature, they'll know that name. And Denzel Merrick, who is also a big, probably number one in the Amazon crime charts just now, but also Alan MacLeod, who was the first piper in the Tannies, his brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Which we didn't realise. So I actually was sitting, I had been on tour with the Tannies reading those books and not realising that let me get this right, actually. So, Alan, what did I say there?
Brother-in-law.
Yes, yeah, brother-in-law of Alan MacLeod. Yeah, so Alan MacLeod.
Yeah.
So I've been sitting in rooms with Alan MacLeod reading Denzel's books, not realising that Alan MacLeod was his brother-in-law.
Did Alan realise you were reading the books?
No, no, that's never happened. No. It was after we parted company that I realised that was a thing. But yeah, so in Denzel's books, the Carradale's called Firdale, so Portenscadden to Firdale. So Portenscadden's like a fictional version of Carradale in the 1920s, and Firdale is in the 2020s.
Fantastic.
So basically, what you're saying is, Firdale, they've got electricity, and Portenscadden, they don't have electricity. And the pub's still open, so that's always good. But you also, this was one of the tunes that you provided to Paul Brown as part of the Blue Book of Contemporary Bagpipe Music, which he released, as we mentioned before, to kind of raise some money for the NHS students at the kind of the first year of the whole kind of COVID thing. And if I remember rightly, when you were just finishing the tune when you gave it to us. I think you barely finished it before it went to print.
I don't ever finish tunes, to be honest.
That's true. That's true.
I've got the deadlines to stop and give them to you usually.
Lauren, need it now. Let's go. So you're playing Highland pipes?
There's no border pipes practice chanter. And it's a very local tune. Archie McAllister's on the fiddle. The local music teacher, who's also a very, very good general guy to have, is on bass. I'm trying to think who else is on it. Joy Dunlop's on it. Joy and Darren McLean's on it. So yeah, James Murdoch was on bass. He was a local music teacher.
Who's on banjo?
Oh, Scooter Muse is on banjo.
Yeah.
So Scooter's actually from Alabama.
Which is, of course, very near Carradale.
Just the next village. So Scooter's yay! Is that a cockapoo?
It's a Bichon Frisch.
What's this?
That's Luna.
This is Luna.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. She always arrives about this time of night.
What Peter means is she gets thrown out of the living room and then.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's not listen to this.
Fantastic.
Brilliant tune. Oops. Yeah, fantastic tune. As as much as I can expect from yourself, Lon. To be honest with you, I don't give you enough praise and compliments because you don't really accept compliments from me. Because usually you think I'm taking the mic,
wanting something.
Yeah.
More likely. That's great. Can I get this done, please? But no, you have obviously had stuff published before in the Lost collection, which was the book with yourself and Mr. Cassell's and the arrangement of the Red Hot Chili Peppers stuff. And as you mentioned, you are looking at doing a book for your 40th year, which is in 2024.
No, it's not. It's in 2023.
What's next year?
Same as Doctor Who, yeah.
Oh, there start. I thought I had an extra year to go.
No, we're doing the EP in November this year and then the album for 40.
Ah, fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah. But I said that for 32, so don't stress too much.
But you're going to get some really good ideas, though. If it's the same as Doctor Who, then you could get a...
That's right, yeah. We could do some returning companions.
There could be some, there could be some good old cliches. A few cliches coming along here.
Lon, I challenge you to write something in the Theremin.
Okay, yeah. I think I've got an app for it.
all joking aside, you've got one kind of project that's coming out that you told me before when it first was announced, and that's on Netflix, and that's the Sea Beast.
Yes.
Which we're going to have a clip from that just to finish off. But I think they've actually modelled the character on you personally.
Oh, great!
It's totally possible because it was just polygons when I saw it. So
you sent photos.
Well, they watched the whole thing. They watched the whole recording session online.
All right, okay.
So yeah, there was it was sort of intimidating. It was like this, but a lot more intimidating. There was
somebody with a pencil going.
Yeah, there was six people watching me. And then, actually, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. But there was
it's all right. We're not that big.
There was a section of the film when I had to. No, I can't say it. I'm going
to. No, don't.
What you're saying is there a section of the film that something really good happens, so we've all got to watch it.
Yeah.
Unless it's cut, and then
there
us afterwards.
was a section of the film when I actually had to do some acting in the room. And
oh dear,
it was a bit daft. And then there was 6 people on the Zoom call when I left to do that. When I came back, there was 12.
Either it's really good,
and some of them were very important.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
That could have been That could have been you'll never believe this chap's joined us now.
Look what we've got this daft guy to do.
He thinks we're serious. But you've acted before.
Have I acted before?
Yeah, you played a musician on Shetland.
Oh yeah, I was also a shepherd in my Primary 7 play.
Shepherd, Shetland, Netflix.
Yeah.
Were you one of the musicians in the Shetland that was supposed to be in Shetland that wasn't in Shetland?
Well, I was playing bagpipes.
Aye. That tends not to happen just very much in Shetland.
No, but that's the thing, Peter. It does. Because I saw it was on Twitter. People are saying, "Oh, you never get a bagpipe session." I have been in a session in Shetland playing bagpipes.
Yeah.
Was it during the folk festival though?
And
it was not. No, it wasn't. I was at the bodega.
If they'd been hanging about the other night, I was stropping about St Ninian's Beach playing Stuart Little's tunes.
Oh, good.
There's bagpipes in Shetland.
Yeah, well, there are bagpipes in Shetland. Why not? I know fiddle's much more common.
There's 2 pipers on Shetland. Peter's both of them.
Well, yeah, there's still not just very many pipers, but there is a few. There's a few.
No, but Lorne, as you mentioned, you've got this coming out. We're going to see that after before you finish. What else is happening for you at the moment that you can say? Because obviously a lot of the stuff you do is kind of record now and then you see it in 6 months if it happens, sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, the EP thing is the big deal just now. So I was in recording with a string quintet in February to get that done, and I just got the edits back day before yesterday, which I'm very pleased about. They've got because I've got no deadline, I've said to them, don't stress about my project. All their other projects are film and TV stuff, so they're like, I know what that's like. So I got that back yesterday, and I'm pretty pleased with it. So just sort of planning what to do with that next. So I do think that's going to be November. I think we're going
which will be your 39th birthday.
Yes. So it's 3 Sweets is on the album, so I need to find a title for it.
Okay.
If anyone can think of what to call it. It's an album that's like, well, it's an EP and it'll have 3 tracks on it.
Got it. I've got it.
What is it, David?
3 Sweets to the Wind.
Oh,
It's been 3 sheets to the wind.
Let's finish at that, eh?
Yeah.
Lorne, it's been great having you on tonight. Thank you very much.
How are you guys? Pleasure.
And as we leave, we'll have a 50-second clip from the Netflix film The Sea Beast, which stars Lorne MacDougall as Piper.
Lorne, thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, David. Bye.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Nearly there, Captain.
Aye, Sarah.
No! Support Mr. Reno and cross the sea!
You heard him, you lubbers! Haul your mizzen! 9 and 4!
Make it scream, Piper!
Here we go.
And that comes out on the 8th of July on Netflix in the UK.
Brilliant. What a fantastic guest. And yeah, I like that idea of getting the 10-second gigs.
To be fair, can you get tuned up in 10 seconds?
Tuned up? What's that? That's overrated.
That's a good point. That is good
I've only once ever had a memo saying, remember and tune your pipes.
I thought you were going to say I've only once tuned up.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Which is, yeah. No, that was great having you both.
What a wealthy experience. What an interesting life in the piping world. It's just fantastic.
That's it. I'm lucky enough to know Lorne and kind of between the two of us back and forward, there's stuff that we've shared musically that is just fantastic. Most of what I've shared is other people's stuff.
I feel they're the very, very knowledgeable, but very reserved person speaking about it there and things. And I think, to be honest, to do that stuff, you'd have to be very, very musically talented to get in amongst that and do it.
Yeah.
Because bagpipes are not the easiest things to work with at the best of times. So suddenly when you want to put them in all these different combinations, etc., it takes a lot of talent to do that. It takes a lot of talent.
But it's not just that. We didn't kind of touch on it, but Lorne's very technically minded as well. He was creating sound banks for electric chanters and things like that for himself and for the recording.
There's Mr. McPhee on. Donald, I was playing your reed the other night when I was doing all my tunes. So a Donald McPhee special.
Sorry, you got a Donald McPhee.
No, a McPhee special. Well, he did send me a read. It's a lovely read. I like it.
Good.
So anyway, listen, brilliant night again. I'm going to have to go now. I've got a big gig tomorrow. Rather than teaching in the school tomorrow morning, unfortunately, the school I'm in tomorrow morning, it's sports day.
Oh dear, what a shame.
So the head teacher has asked if I will be the halftime entertainment.
And you're playing the banjo?
No, I'm playing the accordion. I'm going to take the accordion tomorrow and play to the children at halftime.
What you should do is do Vangelis. Da, 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 da.
David, none of them know what that is.
Who cares?
They have no idea what that is. Anyway, listen, thanks very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us out there tonight. It's been great to see everybody again. We're back next week. Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. With, as you mentioned, Benedict Morris, the fiddle player.
Yes.
And we have Pete Bog Fairies Piper, that's hard to say.
Yeah,
Peter Morrison, who is from Skye. So that'll be fantastic. Yes. So
I met Benedict last weekend at Orkney as well. For the first time, he's playing with Talisk. And then we've got Peter Morrison coming on. I've heard Peter up here playing with the Pete Bogs, so I'm looking forward to getting a chat with him. That'll be great.
Yeah, that should be good.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Please join us every Sunday night to Art and Tunes.
Unless we say otherwise.
We'll be seeing you then.
All the best. Bye now.
Goodbye.